Jerome right here, and once again you're joining me on my Jerome Wright channel. All right, in this video I'm going to be discussing. I'm going to be doing another video on this painting here. It's actually I get the name all twisted, but it's the glorification of the Urahurst or Urahersey or something like that along that lines. This is a very famous painting. And the artist, I believe, is a Salabini or Sabini. And if you just Google glorification, you start going with the E, the U, and the C, and the H-A-I-R-S-T, or Urahurst, or Urahurst, whatever, it'll actually come up. It's a very popular painting. And the reason why it's so popular is because it's supposed to be the God figure up there and Jesus and this orb, and they have these antennae coming out of this orb, and there's like a little window, like a probe eye down in here. In my ongoing paranormal experience and encounter, I've been able to decode these paintings, and I have some wonderful decodings that I made of this that are actually encrypted along each column here within the group of individuals. And it's through my discovery that I'm knowing that they're discussing DNA and how they actually alter genes from one state of being to the next state of being. And in all my videos, I'm discussing these objects as being like seeds, and even in here being in the arch, which actually symbolizes to me that of the penis, and this being the seed of the penis, and it's talking about genes being altered, cell restructuring. That's what these paintings are all about during this Renaissance era. What is being restructured? Well, these different on one side you have these religious individuals. They look like they may be what we might be recognizing with being with that of the Pope, consistent with that of the Pope and his royal followers, or his followers, his religious followers. And then on the other side is consistent with that of what you might find in the royal family and their religious beliefs on how their clergymen would be expected to be dressed or wardrobed in. So this message is still consistent with everything that I'm stating, then, that you have a thing that's dealing with one state of religion and then another state of religion, which is actually all, in my mind, suggestive of that of being ancient rooted royalty and ancient rooted religion. And they come together. And these gene manipulations, this cyclination of genes, which calls for genetic altering, and to further mankind further away from their ape and African ancestors, their Asian ancestors, their European ancestors, and going forward. Similar to what Adolf Hitler was doing when he was talking about this superior race. All of this, people, is what is describing what is happening. Nothing meant more to our ancestors than who they genetically were and where they genetically came from and where they were genetically going. And that's it. That's it in a nutshell. And if you think about it, where there is power on such a level, and think about royalty, the way they have power. Look at ancient rooted religion, the way they have power. People with having so much power and so much wealth at your disposal. The only other thing that is the key missing part, and that is what everybody is talking about, coming back, leaving and coming, is immortality. And that's what everything is all about, immortality. Not just in the real sense of it, but in the afterlife as well, too. And there's a record of it, and these paintings actually show a record. The reason why I'm back at this is because I've discovered what this object is, right here, this orb. It's a seed. And I'm going to try to see if I can come in some. It's a seed. And that object down here at the bottom, that circle that looks like it's a probe eye, everybody wants to call these antennae, and then call this like a probe with the eyeball on it, like something that you would see in Sputnik, or a satellite spy probe you would see. Well, first of all, you wouldn't have a bunch of clergymen sitting around a probe, and you wouldn't have anything like that. If you have a probe, then you have everything else to go along with it. What this is suggesting, people, is that of a penis. And this is the testicle inside of the penis. That's what this is. This blue orb here, this is the, let me see. It's the testis covered by visceral layer of tunica vaginalis. That's what this is. This is the testis covered by visceral layer of tunica vaginalis. That's what this is. Now, this little circle right here that looks like a probe or a lens of a probe coming out of this orb, you know what that is? That is the appendix testicus. That's what that is. That orb, if you turn that upside down, I have a larger image. This here is the, let me see what that this here is the spermatic cord. That's what this is, the spermatic cord. Okay? And there is the nut, testicle, and there is that little probe, that little eye on that probe. Here is what this is. This is a representation of a pineal gland, and this being the testicle, which has been genetically altered. If you look in the clouds on the other sides of this God figure, you will see a bull in the clouds, in the body of a bull, which this God figure is leaning on. If you come over to Jesus' side, there's another figure of a four-legged creature. Right there. This will be a leg. This is the front chest area. Here's the torso, and the head is turned back in, seemingly like that of the horse family. You see that, people? Animals in the top, and also there's fish in there as well too. But there's animals in the top and animals in the bottom. There's the lion, and if you come over to this side, there's the ape. And in fact, this guy's chair here is the head of a pig that he's resting on. This bench is the head of a pig. Over here, where the cardinal is, this cardinal's body of the cardinal's capital, also creates the head of a red pig. This is the bottom chin area. There's the mouth. Oh gosh, I'm using my pointer there, and I forgot you can't see. Over here to the cardinals. Up here are bodies. This is the bull. You'll see that God is leaning on a bull. You see this cloud creates the body of a bull. Over here, where Jesus is, it creates the body of like the horse. There's the front leg, the torso, the neck, the head pointing back, and you will see these genes being pulled, extracted by Jesus over into his body. And if you look at Jesus's hand, you'll see that his hand creates the face of the genes that was actually pulled from out of here. Look at his hand. His hand creates a face in that image. Okay, and these are the genes that are being described, pulled from this side here, and this is the other side, and this is what this is all about. So you have it, people. This is a symbol of the pineal gland. This is the testicle. Now, what is these little rods that they have going inside of there? Well, it's no different than a doctor probing an element. It is showing you that they are tapped in. They artificially tapped into the male testicle, pineal glands, based on this cauldron, this cocktail of chemistry, and they altered mankind's genetic being, and they're saying that they did it through his testicles, and that's what this is described. If you come over here to God's side, Jesus has his hands created in a triangle around that antenna. And on God's side, on this God figure side, you'll see that his hands create the image of a man right down there by the antenna, where his hand grabs the antenna. So people, this is the pineal gland, and it's showing you through this, a pineal gland in a cauldron-like sense. And it's showing you through all of these chemistries. Now there's other animals in here. I have a video, and plus you can see it on my alien UFO site as well, people. But what this is, this probe, oh, I gotta bring it in larger for you, is that, I'm gonna put more in writing as well, is the appendix of the testicus. And that's where it looks like, right there. So that what looks like an eye on that orb, on that orb, is the appendix of the testicles. It's right here. Even that cloud matter that they are on can be described as the appendix of epidermis. The appendix of epidermis. So that cloud matter here that they are on is this, the appendix of the epidermis, right there. That's what this is describing. The appendix of the epidermis is described through the clouds, and there is the testicus, and it's telling you through all of these creatures that are in here, this altering that was created. Now you have angels coming through the side. Now I know what the angels are and what they represent. I'm not going to go into detail of that in this video. However, this is what is being described. And it's telling you that through these genes, these alterings, well, I can pretty much tell you that new seeds were created, and it calls for new children to be created. And that's what these angels are being so and describing. My name is Jerome Wright. I'm going to leave you there with this video. I'm going to put a little bit more in writing. But again, this orb showing you no different than me holding up this image of a testicle and having a pin pointed down, or a hypodermic needle pointing down in it, showing it filled with blood or whatever, showing you either that I was doing an extraction or putting an extraction in to that testicle. I was surgically doing something to that testicle. And there's that little orb, that little circle right here, that's there. Everything that is described, that I just described, is right there. Those little rods like that, they got antennae, what we call antennae going in, is them showing doing an extraction and an injection from this cauldron of cocktail, this chemistry. And people, I mean, we want to believe that it's alien because it sounds good for science and it sounds good for theory. It sounds good for imagination. But in reality, I've just given you the scenario of what this is. This is a representation of the pineal gland. And this is the seed. The seed in the pineal gland is that of the testicle. And I've just described to everybody what this is right here. Okay? That little circle on that orb is a telltale sign of everything. That little circle is the appendix of the testicus. That's the appendix of the testicus. That's what that circle is right there. So when you Google for a model for testicles, that's what this all comes into. And everybody in here, these guys here, you know what this is like? They all representing sperm. That's what this is a representation of. Look at this as being a penis in this arch. This is sperm, and this is the testicus, and they're talking about they altered it, people. That's what this is about. My name is Jerome Wright. I'll put a little bit more right. I'm gonna stop this video there. Thank you for. If you just Google glorification, you start going with the E, the U, and the C, and the HAIRST, or your horse, or our horse, whatever, it'll actually come up. It's a very, very popular painting. And the reason why it's so popular is because it's supposed to be the God figure up there and Jesus and this orb, and they have these antennae coming out of this orb, and there's like a little how they actually altered genes from one state of being to the next state of being. And in all my videos, I'm discussing these objects as being like seeds, okay? And even here, being in the arch, which actually symbolizes to me that of the penis, and this being the seed of the penis, and it's talking about genes being altered, cell restructuring. That's what these paintings are all about during this Renaissance. Jerome Wright here, and once again, you're joining me on my Jerome Wright channel. All right, in this video, I'm going to be discussing. I'm going to be doing another video on this painting here. It's actually I get the name all twisted, but it's the glorification of the Urahurst or Urahurst or something like that along that lines. This is a very famous painting, and the artist, I believe, is a Salabini or Sabini, and what is being restructured. Well, these different on one side you have these religious individuals. They look like they may be what we might be recognizing with being with that of the Pope, consistent with that of the Pope and his royal followers, or his followers, his religious followers. And then on the other side is consistent with that of what you would find in the royal family, and the window, I mean, a little like a probe eye down in here. Okay. In my ongoing paranormal experience and encounter, I've been able to decode these paintings, and I have some wonderful decodings that I made of this that are actually encrypted along each column here within the group of individuals. And it's through my discovery that I'm knowing that they're discussing DNA